Can I? Okay. Do you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's start by the title. The reason to clarify that I work outside academy. Um, as as um, as you mentioned, I studied applied mathematics and computer science. And one possible career path for people who study mathematics is to become researchers. This is to continue studying masters, PhDs, and then work at universities, in many cases teaching, and also doing research on specific areas. In my case, it's a little bit different. I started working since I was a university student. So this is a different path, but also a possibility for people in this area. Well, um, here we have some sectors. Each of these images represents a sector in which I have been involved in my career. I have worked in both public and private sectors. Even when I didn't follow the academic pathway, I have collaborated in research projects. And I also spent part of my time supporting nonprofit initiatives. So I'm gonna speak a little about each of these works and projects I have been in. And then we'll have a little space for any doubts or questions you have. Um, First of them is when I work in the public sector, that was in government. I work there developing a platform to facilitate the evaluation of public health policies. Here we can see a map showing the evaluation of key performance indicator for mellitus diabetes, but there was also indicators for many other relevant topics of prevention and promotion of health. This project was championed on the WC's prizes, which is the more important recognition for digital technology in the world, that look for projects that demonstrate how information and communication technologies can accelerate the achievement of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So this was oriented to the goal number 3, that is the related to health, and that's a project I work on. Then the next is like my incursion in the nonprofit initiatives. I am an active citizens facilitator. That is an initiative of the British Council and consists of social leadership training that promotes intercultural dialogue and community-led social development. I have also been a volunteer in programs assessing water quality or teaching finance basics to kids. And I currently lead a diversity and inclusion employees group in my work that is focused on the generational component of diversity. Uh, as I said before, I have also in academic projects, even when I'm not working properly in the academy. I have been assistant or collaborator of 2 projects. One of them was related to liver cancer due to alcoholism. So the experiments there were performed on mice. So my work there was to analyze the data of the response that each gene of this mouse, all of the mice using the experiments, which response each gene have to certain protein. Also, I work in a project that was intended to understand discrimination in job offers across internet. So those offers and search for key terms that show us that possible discrimination in the redaction or the intention that is between lines of each offer. Then I have also worked in the private sector. One of those jobs was in a consultancy service enterprise. What I did there was to trying to understand what people want in terms of what they buy at a store or what they listen at the radio or the programs they want to watch or the social media that they follow. We use that data in order to offer insights for businesses, like for the producers of different products, and also to understand media decisions. For example, let's say that you are like a really famous enterprise in the automobilistic sector, and you wanna know if it's okay to support or not football team. So you ask to these consultancy services, like when there is a match, a football match, how many people is watching that match, how many people see all the commercials in the mid time, etc. So you can take a decision that if that support to the football team is something that it's according to your interest or is not. Um, Other work I have in the private sector was like a short period in the market, in the energy market. And there, what I did was to understand the changes in law for the Mexican new created energy market and understand the prices of energy, how they change, what offers you can do. Also, depending on the region that you are, if you are going to have any advantage or in the technology used to generate that energy, how do this affect the market? The work that I currently do is in the financial sector. I work in a compliance team. What I do there is, in short terms, fight the financial crime. But there I'm responsible for the design of the scenarios and models to understand, prevent, and mitigate financial crime risks. And you might not have heard about financial crime before, but in simple terms, it consists of serious criminal activities that reaches financial systems. Money laundering and terrorism financing are examples of it. Um, Banks are institutions required to accomplish local and international regulations and laws, and also to follow recommendations to fight financial crime. Let's say we want to understand how the drug dealers are paying to their producers. If they are using cash or maybe cards or cheques to pay for that. And this is a problem that is easy to explain. We only want to understand how are they paying, but it's really complex to solve. In my role, it is very important, like the creativity, and use it to provide many ideas, as much ideas as I can to solve these problems. And once I have these lots of proposals, land them to make them real solutions, to make them possible. And this is just like a brief summary of what I have done. I know that it's a little bit fast, but I prefer to answer your questions on each one of these uh, to, to go deeper if you prefer.
Thank you so much. I would like to ask, what's the thing you like the most about your career?
I think that what I like the most, I really, really love, is that this flexibility to go to different sectors, to work in health, to work in the bank, in banks, to work in in retail, understanding insights. And I think that this ability, this flexibility to move to any activity you want or any passion or hobby you follow, I think that maths allows you to be prepared to work in any of them.
Thanks. Next, I wanted to ask, what advice would you give to girls and all people that want to study mathematics?
An advice is like, um, let's say that you are not sure if this is for you or not, but what you are absolutely sure is what else do you want or do you like. Let's say you like arts or you like music, and you also like math, but are not quite sure to study math, then if you investigate like the relation between that topic that you like, let's say music or arts, and maths, how are maths behind them, or what can you do from maths to for that topic, maybe that can be a very high, very strong motivation for you to continue once the when the career may become difficult or something, and you remember, oh why, oh this is why I started in the first place. I wanna dedicate to music or to arts, and I'm gonna link it to maths, that is something I also enjoy a lot. It's,
Thank you so much. One person asked, what inspired you to study a mathematics career?
I think that it was like when I discovered that there's no a simple solution for things, that is not just only one path that you can follow, but you can reach a solution for a problem in many different ways. So I love that. And also when I was um, at high school, I started participating in certain contents such as the mathematics Olympiad, and then I see that math was not like my classes in the school, and was like more fun and more um, um, defiant, and with really um, really different from what I see at my classes, and that I think that's the reason why I started investigating like different careers offering maths.
Thanks. Did you have a role model?
Mm, yes, to be honest, when I participate by the first time in the mathematics Olympiad, I was not aware of that. Like, is that I was interested in other contests, but I have like a teacher, and she uh, registered me for the Olympiad. So once I meet these problems and the different topics, I started working more and more in them. And she was like my role model, because she's like the one who involves me in this world of maths. I was about to study an engineer career, but then I changed my mind for her.
Awesome. Can you please tell us about some problems you had to overcome in your career?
Yes. Well, one that I faced at the beginning, when starting the career, was that I'm I know that when you are a woman doing science, it's not enough that the work you do. compared to the work that men do. Like doing an additional effort and convince everyone that what you did, it's okay, that it's good, that it's right, that you follow a process and it's validated. And I think that start to experiment that since I was studying the career, but I also faced that in work, and I've seen that when I was in a meeting room and I was like the only woman in the room, and I have someone of my team next to me. The people who didn't know me started speaking to the men, assuming that they was the people leading the meeting, and that was like uncomfortable at the beginning, but then you show that we still needing to prove that our works uh, is good. So once they start to know what you do and that it's okay and the results it offers, it becomes easier.
Thanks. Another question from the audience is, if you return to the past, aside from applied maths, what would you study?
Mm, when I decide my career, I was in love with different areas. I wanted to study physics, also computer science by itself, and also pure mathematics. And the main reason that I choose these specific programs of applied mathematics and computer science is because it allowed me to mix uh, these passions I have for different areas. And I think that I won't change that decision because I have experimented in different sectors and in different areas, and all of that is possible because I have these pillars in my formation.
Thanks. Um, how are your experiences studying mathematics in school and actually applying math, similar and different?
Um, I can give you an example of how they are similar, they are like exactly the same in some way. For example, what I do is to produce cases and saying that I have identified like a bunch of customers who I think that are suspicious for committing criminal activities. But I have also limited resources. I cannot investigate all of the customers we have or all of the customers that look suspicious for me. So something that we do is exactly apply as in the school, let's say a sampling process in order to have a representative portion of those customers. And now that they are we are able to investigate those links, we can understand if there is real suspicions on all the group, and if we need to, let's say, to have more people investigating, or if there's not as much risk as we think at the beginning. That's exactly the same thing we do when studying and in the work. And something that is different is that not in everything we do, we are like in the state of the art. Some things are solved with processes, with techniques that we knew before. And the only thing that changes is that now we have like computer power to perform that operations that before was only theoretical, but now we can implement them. And that, I think that that's the difference from the university to the work.
How did you get used to the different areas you work on so fast?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Sorry, what's the process that you follow to get used to the different sectors you work on so fast?
Um, uh, I started when I was a student, and the thing that I did, that I have done all the time, even before looking for a job, is that I follow like institutions, pages, etc. That I'd like to work in. And for example, when I was a kid, I loved to participate in different contests of everything, like is let's say to write, to also math contest, and also computer contest, and everything, even drawing, music, everything that I was interested in. I started full pages, institutions, to see when the like a new contest is uh, available, and I applied to everything that I'd like to participate or to be involved in. And like it's like because like something that I didn't stop doing after university. So I started seeing that it's like an open position, and I said, well, this is about, let's say, health, and I'm not a doctor, but I can support that project with my knowledge on data analysis, let's say, something. And I think that that's the key, that I didn't stop looking for things that I like, and never thought that I was not able to contribute in some way. Instead, I look, what can I offer to that project, and how can I get involved there.
Thanks. Which one of your projects are you most proud of, and why?
Hmm. Um, I I have one that is like when I'm really proud. I cannot give lots of details, but this is one related to human trafficking, because it's that's a project that I um, work in my current position. But once that I implement a model and selected the customer that I thought was involved in that typology I was researching, uh, we found lots of people involved in that behavior, and report that to authorities. I saw like immediate response, also see how that work got reflected in the new recommendations of the local regulators. So it was not something that just stopped in my institution, but also started to being applied in other banks, because it was like a really good model to understand these patterns of human trafficking that we were using. And also because that gets reflect on the well-being of people. Like you, I think that my work makes at least in a small part, like the world a safest place.
Yes, that's awesome. Um, what is like an advice you would give to minorities in order to help them make their voices heard?
Um, I think that to speak up is really important. But I think that also a relevant key is try to build like networks of collaboration. Uh, to don't just accept that you are like a minority. uh, you can, maybe you cannot change being part of some minority, and maybe you can change the world from one day to the other, for minorities to be considered and not being discriminated. But you of course can speak up, you can show that you're valuable, and that being part of a minority is not something that excludes you to success. This specific point of create networks where you can like raise the voice of not just for you, but for those in that minority that maybe have not the same opportunities of the spaces or channels to be heard, and try always to speak up for all those that cannot.
Thanks. Um, could you tell us about your experience during during the project you did outside university?
Yeah, it was not as I expected. My really first project outside university was in I was like a fellow for a for an enterprise of retail. Um, my responsibilities there were to increase an indicator of how fast we capture some metrics of the people that we hire to move our products from one state to other in Mexico. We need to record so fast that that information, and the indicator was like so so low. So my work was to increase it, and it wasn't what I expected because I solved that problem in like in 2 weeks instead of the 6 months that was expected. So once I solve it, I have nothing else to do, and what becomes like a little boring. But that's because maybe I did something that it was really easy, or they think that it was complicated, and that's why they assigned that to me. But that's what was my real first experience.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for being here and for joining us today. I think I talk like in the name of all the members of UMAT's team when I say that I hope we can do more events with you in the future. Thank you again for being here, and happy day of the women and girls in science.
Thank you, girls.
Thank you.
Hmm,
We'll
congratulations for the
thank
work
you.
you do.
We'll have next an interview with the scientist Mariana López Castro, who's gonna talk to us about her experience as a researcher at the International Laboratory for Human Genome Research. So we'll end this Zoom meeting here and rejoin with the same link, please. Thank you.